Hey everybody, Mr. Dan here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the second part of my 3 review series of AIP teenage themed horror movies. Whew. Hey, maybe there's some other teenage horror movies out there from AIP. I know there's a teenage caveman movie because I watched the first 10 minutes of it the other day. Ooh, but I might review those later. I'm just lumping these 3 together because the first one was I Was a Teenage Werewolf starring Michael Landon. That came out in June of 57. Well, in November, and made a lot of money for AIP. So by November 57, they debuted I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, kind of a logical follow-up, uh, which is an hour and 14 minutes long. It's directed by Herbert L. Strock, as the next film in the series will be. Uh, this one, like the last one, starred Whit Bissell as Dr. Frankenstein. Uh, and he has an assistant. All 3 of the films that I'm doing in the series have assistants. Uh, my favorite one is yet to come, but this one has Dr. Carlton, who's a legit doctor in his own right, but who still gets overruled by the very aggressive Dr. Frankenstein, played excellently by Whit Bissell, who does a great job. And then he's married to, the Whit Bissell character is engaged to a woman named Margaret, played by Phyllis Coates. She was the first Lois Lane on TV. On I don't know what the original series was called, The Adventures of Superman, I believe, but that's her. She just passed away somewhat recently. And then you have Gary Conway, who's still with us, as Bob. Okay, he's a teenager who's involved in a horrible multi-car accident with a bunch of other teenagers. His body is thrown clear of the car and retrieved by Dr. Frankenstein, and you can guess what he does with the body. Now, Gary Conway is interesting because he was in a number of these films. He will also appear in the next film in the series. And he did a lot of TV. I guess he was on Burke's Law and Land of the Giants as a regular, but then he was in like an episode of this, an episode of that, an episode of Columbo, an episode of Lawman. And later in his career, he kind of transformed into a writer. So he actually was a writer on American Ninja 2, and he actually starred in this. He has a cool nickname in this. I forget what it is. It's like the Hawk or something like that. I don't know. Just, hey, late career sort of transformation. That's pretty cool. And then he was also a writer on Over the Top, the Stallone movie. How crazy is that? And there's a documentary in this Canon set, so maybe he's in there. That would be cool to see an interview with him. I'm curious to see how that whole, his sort of transformation into a writer came about. But anyway, he's very good. He was a muscular young guy. That's why he was chosen for this role, because this is a teenage Frankenstein role. And once again, Whit Bissell is fantastic. I think he's better in this than he was in I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. I think he's got more to do. He's got better lines. He gets into more confrontations because he's trying to keep the experiments that he's doing on this young teenager named Bob, who he has in the basement, a secret from his fiance. And eventually, Bob gets out and kills a couple people, and now you have the police kind of closing in too. But a lot of the conflict is within the house itself, where the fiance is, first of all, she's jealous of the fact that Frankenstein is so invested in his work, and she wants to plan the marriage and so forth. And then eventually she does a little snooping and finds this horrible disfigured kid in the basement, and the makeup job is pretty good, pretty memorable, pretty fugly, as the kids say. I guess they say that, I don't know. And occasionally Dr. Carlson will say, hey, I'm not sure we should be doing this, and he just gets shot down by Dr. Frankenstein. I was almost wondering, is he supposed to, like, his name's Dr. Frankenstein, there's all kinds of things happening. Nobody says, hey, I wonder if that Frankenstein guy has anything to do with it. So I was almost wondering if in this world they knew about the original Frankenstein, but eventually, I think it's a policeman, says something about it, but they only mention it in passing, so they don't seem to attach any extra suspicion on him because of his lineage. But this is a fun one. I really enjoyed this one just as much as I Was a Teenage Werewolf, which I was kind of surprised about. it has kind of a tragic ending. You know, the Bob character, they keep leading him along and saying, we're going to operate on you and fix your face. And eventually they do have an operation. But the Dr. Frankenstein in this film just doesn't want to let him go, essentially. And it's really good. It's a lot of fun. These movies go by fast. If you haven't seen this one and you like I Was a Teenage Werewolf, go ahead and check it out. There's not much more to say about the plot. Really fun. Whit Bissell, excellent in this. Come back again for part 3, which, in case you're wondering if it's like I Was a Teenage, Mummy, that's not what it is. Okay? It's kind of a meta film almost about these two films. It's really kind of interesting. So come back again for that part 3 of the AIP Teenage Horror Series. And thanks a lot. Have you guys seen this? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you next time. Later. Also, check out the Mad Blood's channel. My buddy Ro, Mad Blood, was lucky enough to get a double feature of these films, and he did review Teenage Frankenstein as well. Check it out.